Hello guys, Omni here. With everything going on in the world with this pandemic continuing to sweep the country, the entertainment industry is ramping down wholeheartedly. And this isn't just with the release of movies, it's with production, marketing. A lot of things are going to be winding down. We're going to be seeing some fewer trailers here in the near future, and a lot of the movies that are supposed to begin production are going to be pushed back. And a lot of the movies that we're going to be releasing in theaters are being held off or even forced to video on demand, for some of them releasing digitally. And a lot of those right now, at least the only ones that have been confirmed so far, I've already seen and covered on the channel. So right now, what we're going to be talking about in the near future, at least here on the channel, to help continue to bring you guys information, bring you guys some entertainment, give you guys some kind of escape by sharing in these things that kind of bring us joy. I'm trying to find some things to grasp and grab at, either to talk about, react to, cover. I've even played a couple of gaming demos on here, doing some live streams to try to spice things up and keep some energy flowing here while we're dealing with all of this enclosure, this self-quarantine, and hopefully practicing self-quarantine and all that. But that being said, today at least, I did see that ScreenJunkies released an honest trailer for, a beloved and not so much beloved movie that came out last year that we've talked about multiple times here on the channel, and I still personally have mixed feelings about it in various ways, and that is for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I know a lot of people are tired of talking about this. Right now, like I said, we're grasping at straws as far as things to cover here on the channel, so I'm not going to argue these guys. I watch all of their videos. I watched all of their their podcasts and their honest trailers, all of this stuff, man. I find them hilarious. They always point out some stuff that either I didn't think about or just kind of highlight some, I don't know. They point out the flaws in a very entertaining way in a lot of these movies. And at least it gives me a chuckle. And I've never really covered a lot of their videos except for when they did this special thing for the classic and revival series of Doctor Who's respectively. I've reacted both of those. That's really about it. So, I don't do this too often, and I don't try to make a habit out of it, but we're going to react to the honest trailer for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Let's see what they point out to us, guys, and here we go.
Trevorrow, until someone saw the Book of Henry, and the director, who's never seen a landing he couldn't not stick. The conclusion to the
poor JJ, man.
Star Wars Episode 7.5, The Rise of Skywalker.
I got a bad feeling about this.
The Last Jedi asked you to forget everything you knew about Star Wars. So when some fans threw the kind of fit usually reserved for ethics in games journalism, Disney panicked and tried to mash the pieces back together in this hollowed-out shell of a trilogy that's missing any consistency in its plot, themes, or characters. Unless you fill in the blanks on Twitter, read all the novels, and happen to be running some Fortnite squads.
That I can't believe. I didn't know that until after the movie had already come out, that this Fortnite thing was a thing. But it's really just been 2 novels so far, just to be fair. The novelization of the movie and the visual dictionary.
Jedi revealed the second Death Star in Root Beer Tapper.
What the hell?
The Resistance was down to its last gasp, and the First Order reigned supreme. Now, stuff has happened, and the Resistance is back to fighting strength, while the First Order is taking loans from the rich old grandpa they don't call anymore. They'll strike a dark bargain with the only character left on the rotting carcass of the original trilogy, Palpatine, or a clone of him that's like rotting away, and Snoke is also a clone, and he's being pickled?
I mean, it turns out like what I thought happened is what actually happened, but it could have been explained a lot better, at least in the movie.
And your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
Strike me down, and my spirit will pass into you.
And when that fails, hit him with the old zap hands.
And that bass.
The same Luke Skywalker who bailed in this whole mess also left a scavenger hunt to stop him, sending our heroes running to find the thingy.
The location of the
And he left a map in R2 to him in the first one, so he's just like, this
thingy.
It's just a back and forth between these two, man.
To the bad guy.
She's going to Exegol.
She
showing us how to get there.
While the First Order keeps sending them running whenever some character growth is about to happen.
There's an incoming destroyer.
Gotta go now. Ben, we're about to be cooked!
Oh my god, it's like that reminds me of like Aquaman, where every conversation ended with an explosion.
Oh no, TIE fighters! Everybody scram!
Yes, that.
All the new characters
Just
you
like
still
that.
barely know after 3 movies have returned, like Poe, who I guess was a smuggler at some point,
Your friend's old job was running spice.
completing his arc from Han Solo type to just Han Solo. Finn, who's still fighting against all odds to keep himself in the movie.
I need to go alone.
We go together. We're all in this. Gotta go after her.
At least they all give really good performances. I'll say, I gotta say, that was the only time in the movie I legitimately clapped. Am I one of them? Oh god.
By a single act of good. And Rey, who's taken Luke's X-Wing, his lightsaber, his book collection, possibly his childhood home, and his last name.
Ray who? Ray Skywalker.
Huh. Is Rey playing the long game? Because I think Luke just got talented Mrs. Ridley'd. Don't like the newcomers? Don't worry. No one's ever really gone. Rejoin your old pals 3PO, Chewie, Luke, Leia, Han, and Lando, who are so sidelined at this point that one of them is fake memory wiped.
Remedy restoration complete.
One of them fake dies.
He's alive.
One of them thinks Last Jedi was for fake fans only.
A Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
One of them dies from causing the fake death of her son. One of them died 2 movies ago and is so over this franchise, he wouldn't even get a haircut to cameo as a memory. And one of them is alive and well enough to seemingly hit on his own daughter.
Well, let's find out.
Visual Dictionary and the
It
comics.
was in the Rise of Skywalker visual companion book, idiot. You should have been reading that in between rounds of Fortnite. You call yourself a Star Wars
Still
fan.
weird.
So strap in for a conclusion that brings so much new to the franchise. From the new force powers that would have really come in handy for Qui-Gon Jinn,
Not everybody can do it.
to hammering it home that all these dead stormtroopers were actually kidnapped children.
Harvest more of
Yes. Oh, I thought about that.
Knights of Ren do absolutely nothing, then go out like a bunch of weak-ass punks. And mercifully,
And then you still have this comic that's trying to build them up still.
with a sloppily constructed, hastily executed mess that managed to do the impossible. Unite fans who loved The Last Jedi and fans who hated The Last Jedi by pleasing none of them.
Whole thing's on fire!
Starring
Oh, we're using our made-up names. Then I'm Ray Skywalker.
Hucked Finn,
Oh my
Marco
god.
Polo, Gentle Ben,
Use the Force, B.
the only consistent character across all 9 films.
Yeah.
Participation trophies.
Don't force so hard.
Oh,
You end up
come
just like
on.
your brother.
An old man wearing the same outfit he had in his 20s.
Yeah, I thought that was a little strange.
The Rocketeer, Rolling James Dio. Tony Sith cloned this in a cave. Bland Moff Tarkin. A Rose by any other name would get to speak. How can I be a mechanic? I
That-
have no arms. Darth
I thought that.
Sidious.
Oh my
Who's
god.
cooler than
That's why I
one
watched
Captain
these.
Phasma? 6 Captain Phasmas. And Rey's dramatic reveal face.
I mean, she sells it, I gotta say. Like, man, she can, like, lock a stare in.
Episode 9, The Last
my
Star Wars. For a while at least. I really need to think this
Oh my
through.
god, man.
You know, I'm starting to think
Kudos.
It's a bad idea for one studio to make every big movie.
I was cybernetically engineered to pilot a spacecraft. I was cybernetically engineered to be a douchebag. What'd you do to the droid?
What'd you do to the Falcon?
Falcon's a lot better shape than he is.
BB-8's not on fire.
What's left of him isn't on fire. On your left.
I don't care. It still was epic, even though I did think it was very much the same thing.
Why?
Oh my god, man. They nailed it. They I love these videos, man. I think when it's like a lesser known film, or where it's not a film that's not as big, or there's not a lot to work with, they have some moments, but there's so much material to work with between the books, between the fans, between social media reactions, reviews. There's so much here and years of fan reactions to Star Wars to just kind of pick this apart, man. So I gotta give them like a round of applause for everything they called out in this. Now, like I said, I have mixed feelings about this movie. I saw it twice in theaters. I was not sure how I felt about it at all the first time. There's a lot of things that I really did like in it. And a lot of it is what they did with the lore and expanding the Force to some of the ways that it came about in the original, like the Legends, what are now considered Legends stories, the EU, the expanded universe. They brought a lot of those ideas over, and even the what is it, Dark Empire with the Emperor, the way he comes back through cloning, though it's not exactly according to the plan. And you know, I don't know. It was just really sloppily done. The whole trilogy, like they all have some good moments in them, things that I do really like out of it. Because of the inconsistency between them all, that's the only thing that kind of keeps them from feeling like they're part of the entire saga to me. Not that I'm like, oh, dude, not my Star Wars, which I know a lot of people are, but I mean, I don't know, man. The books are trying to make this make sense and come together. And a lot of these things they were talking about, you know, a lot of people have been talking about this is turning into something like with what J.K. Rowling has been doing with Harry Potter, you know, just kind of revisionist history, the stuff from it, expanding the lore through information rather than actually doing it in the world. And that is true to a point, only in that a lot of the stuff was coming out piece by piece as review copies of this one book came out. And that is the novelization of the movie. The stuff about Palpatine being a clone, the stuff about Rey and Kylo's kiss. And this isn't in defense of the movie. This should have all been in the movie. And this is Disney, whoever's fault that made this call to remove this stuff that was in there. Because we do know at least that the movie, barring the evidence that we know, at least that the movie was a lot longer and included more of a backstory in there for the Emperor. And Ian McDiarmid has said this on stage that this stuff was there, but it got removed. So whoever's idea to remove any of that stuff, you know, we don't need to know how the Emperor's back. Yeah, we do. Explain it, please. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of choices that happened within the execution of this entire trilogy that just dropped the ball on the whole thing. And it did pose an impossible mission for JJ in the end. Whether you like what he did or not, whether you like what he did with Force Awakens or not, I mean, I feel like to both soft reboot Star Wars and stick this mess of a landing, he had a lot going against him. And I think he did the best he could, maybe I think maybe with less meddling, maybe we could have seen a cleaner transition. And like I said, in The Last Jedi, there are some really great moments. I don't like it. I'm one of them. I'm sorry. But there's a lot of things in it that I really did like. And I got to say, at least for the sequel trilogy, I think all of the actors did fantastic jobs. They were really great at doing what they were given. All of them, everybody. I don't think there was anyone that really came in and really just kind of like came in for the paycheck, aside from Harrison Ford. And I don't think I got that feeling from him in The Force Awakens. And I also think that even though we know he showed up for the paycheck in the last one, that he still did it, man. And I still felt it. That moment still worked for me, even though I wish it was Anakin. It should have been Anakin. Anakin should have been in this movie. All I'm saying. Hands down, it begins and ends with Palpatine and Anakin. That's it. Hands down. We done? We talking? We good. All right. Chosen one. Get over it. Sorry. I don't know. I just get into a tangent about that. Anyway, back to what I just veered off course with this, man. So after the movie came out, there's been 2 books. So all this information came from the Visual Dictionary, which came out, I think, the week of the movie or the week after the film hit theaters. And then there was the novelization of the movie, which officially I think just came out last week. I think. I could be wrong, but I think it just came out, the novelization of the movie. And you've been seeing these headlines over and over again about these new bits of information. Palpatine was really a clone. Rey's father was actually another failed Palpatine clone. Rey can force heal because of Luke. Well, that was in the visual. Anyway, what was the other thing? What was the other thing that was getting harped on? Rey and Kylo's kiss. That was, this was all from the same source. And a lot of people were comparing that, like I was trying to say, was that this is like how J.K. Rowling's been tweeting and making little bits of informational canon updates to the Harry Potter universe. This was only happening because as people got these review copies, these early release review copies of the book, they started getting tweeted bit by bit while people were reading through the whole book. I think it's like a 200, 300 page book. And they just kind of like, as they're finding these information bits, they're screening them, putting them on the internet. So it's all from one source. It's not like this stuff is being jumbled together. It is completely reactionary. Or maybe this was some stuff that was in the original script that got, cut and trimmed apart. I don't know. We'll never really know. Disney won't let anybody admit it. Thankfully, I think Ian McDermott is just like, I don't know. I'll say whatever I want on the stage, because he's talked quite a bit after this whole thing went through. Like, this is post the film where he's talked about his role as Palpatine. But, in my opinion, it should always have begun and ended with Palpatine. As far as the Skywalker saga is concerned, it's those two, Anakin and Palpatine, is where it should have ended and resolved, began and resolved. That's kind of where I stand. I'm a little freaking out of breath, man. But I liked it. I still, regardless, it doesn't taint Star Wars to me. I still enjoy it. I'm still watching and reacting to every episode of the new Clone Wars series. I'm really excited to see where that goes. It's still top-notch animation from people who know Star Wars and care. And The Mandalorian is such a good show too. Dave Filoni spearheading a lot of these things, even on that front with the lore, kind of shepherding it into this way that George Lucas had taught him to do, in this way that is consistent with everything we've seen. And there's some stuff that has been said by Sam Witwer about the close of the series, and he's at least the voice of Maul, Palpatine, and a couple other people in the Clone Wars and the Rebels and whatnot. And he's teased some things that make me really excited about what they're bringing together at the end of this final season of Clone Wars. A lot of new lore, a lot of expansion of the lore that we've known, and some crazy stuff that he says has him shocked. And he is one of the biggest Star Wars nerds out there. But who am I to judge? We'll see what the future holds. I will not take anything at face value until I see it for myself. That's how I feel about it. That's what I think about it. What did you guys think of this trailer? What are your thoughts? I don't even want to know why I'm going to ask this question. What are your thoughts on Rise of Skywalker? What's your favorite Star Wars movie? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below, and we can have that conversation after the video, guys. If you like this, support the channel by liking, commenting, subscribing, and everybody, again, as always, stay safe out there, self-isolate, do what you can to help slow the spread of this disease while we are trapped working from home, if you have the luxury of doing so. I know plenty of people that don't and are struggling right now. It's going to be a tough time, and I think media for sure, as well as just the economy in general, is going to be completely side-wrecked. That's not even a word. Completely shifted by the time this thing all comes to an end. And I'm curious to see what that world's going to look like. A little anxious, a little terrified, but let's keep it light, keep it happy, and do our best to stay positive. And I'll talk to you guys in the comments after this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. And as always, may the Force be with you always. Take care, everybody.